Ranking the best quarterbacks in Madden 23. We are back here with another update. Today we got quarterbacks, and this is going to be one that you might disagree with me on a couple placements. But before we get into re-ranking the old cards and ranking the new cards, I do want to go ahead and shout out the comment of the day. Now, this right here was the previous tier list, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I really like the S tier still. I think Elway and Rodgers are still S tier. A tier and below, I think everyone can move down a tier. I think we got a bunch of quarterbacks that are like better than Vick, Jimmy G, Steve Young, RG3, but still aren't quite as good as like Elway or Rodgers. Now, this is currently what it's looking like. I will say, I think there's one person that I should move up, and that is actually going to go ahead and be Steve McNair. I think I was sleeping on him a little bit. I think he's more along the lines of like these cards right here than he is the C tier, and I think he's just kind of like a worse version. Him and Jimmy G, I think, are kind of worse versions of a card we're going to cover later. Now, we're going to get started right here with Tim Tebow, that has excellent physical stats, 92 speed, has really good accuracies across the board. Once you start to get around 90s, you really can't tell a difference. And he's 6'3", really good running quarterback, has generic one of the worst releases in the game. But the thing on him is he can get fast break for 0 AP. This is not a passing quarterback. If you play the game and you run a lot of like QB wrap or like options with your quarterback, he is potentially like an S tier quarterback because he gets fast break for 0, has a really good player model, really fast, really good ball carrier moves. But for how I like to play the game, he's not good. And I'm going to rate it based on how like I play and how I think the majority of Madden players play out there. A lot of drop back passing, that's not his strong suit. I will say he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the game because, again, fast break for 0 AP. One, you can get him for free as well, and two, you can just potentially break him out when you're in goal line situations, run some options with your quarterback. That's a really good strategy. But in my opinion, like, if based on his ability as a passer, like D tier, but if you're running options with him and all this other stuff, he's potentially like an S tier quarterback because he's one of the best at doing that in the game. And after this, we got Jonathan Ogden. That's 6'9", 340, out of position quarterback. I don't want to say decently fast, but 70, I feel like not that bad, you know? Great throw power with 94. Again, pretty decent accuracies across the board. This time has generic one, again, that terrible release, and doesn't get any discounted abilities. He gets set feet lead for 4 AP. A really fun card to use, no doubt about it. But for his actual effectiveness, I think he's like F tier. I really don't think he's good. Again, paying 4 AP for set feet lead with the discounted abilities we're getting in the game right now, not worth it at all. And now we got Kenny Pickett, that with a little bit of upgrades could go ahead and look like this, and he could potentially even get better. I doubt he wins the battle between him and Hufanga because the amount of people that voted for Hufanga, but could potentially win it. He's a 6'3" field general quarterback with 86 speed, 86 excel. That's pretty decent, and again, pretty good accuracy. 92 throw power this time. Generic one release though, so not a good release. And if we take a look at his abilities, he can get fearless and set feet lead in total for 6 AP. Honestly though, for a budget, like for a free quarterback, not the worst thing in the world to rock set feet lead fearless for 6 AP. That's a decent ability combo. It doesn't really save the release, but it makes him salvageable. I think once again, he's like D tier. Kind of reminds me of Matthew Stafford. I believe they get set feet lead and fearless for the same amount of AP, so I'm going to put them right by each other. And right after that, we got Andy Dalton. That's 6'2", field general quarterback, 82 speed, 80 excel with some pretty decent accuracies. Once again, pretty much every quarterback now is going to have good accuracies. 93 throw power, has Gen 3 this time. Pretty decent release. And if we take a look at his abilities this time, can get gunslinger for 1, set feet lead for 3. So again, you're rocking fearless and set feet lead for 6 AP, I believe, on this card. I'm gonna put him right by the other quarterbacks we just covered that just got that for the same amount of AP. The only difference is he's a 92, and you could potentially get Kenny Pickett for free. Right after that, we got McCorkle Jones, 84 speed this time, 6'3" field general with 92 speed. This time hits 90s across the board for accuracy. Going to play pretty good, has traditional 5 as a release, and this time, once again, he gets fearless and set feet lead for 6 AP. Again, going to put him right by the people we just covered that gets it for the same amount of AP. Wasn't really a big fan of traditional 5 when I use it on Mac Jones either, but again, I think right around like Matthew Stafford, Kenny Pickett, Andy Dalton, these 4 quarterbacks, you're not really going to notice a crazy difference from, in my opinion. Right after that, we got Malik Willis, that has 93 speed, 95 excel. So if abilities didn't exist in this game, this card would have been so good, but he's 6'1", a scrambler, 94 throw power, pretty usable accuracies, not really bad at all, really good ball carrier moves as well. Gen 3 as a release, and if we take a look at his abilities, fast break for 1 AP. He's along the lines of like a Tebow style quarterback where he's really good if you're running with your quarterback a lot. Set feet lead for 4, not good value at all. So Malik Willis, I don't think he's F tier, but I also don't think he's like top end of D. It's either I have to move like Tebow, Mac Jones, Matt Stafford, Kenny Pickett, Andy Dalton, all 4 of these quarterbacks up in the C. But then again, I don't really think they're as good as like even Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson has my favorite release in the game. Same with Burt Jones. I don't think they're as good as the people in C. Like essentially Daniel Jones is just a faster version of all these cards right here. So I don't really mind them being in D. Again, I could see you flip-flopping a couple of these things, but I'm gonna hold off from moving them up in the C. Right after that, we got Jared Goff. That's 6'4", field general, 77 speed, pretty much hits 90s across the board for accuracy. And if we come down to his release, has Gen 3 once again. So what are the abilities? You can get fearless for 3, set feet lead for 3. In total, that is 6 AP. So very similar to some cards we already covered. He's going right into the pack of like Mac Jones, Matt Stafford, Kenny Pickett, Andy Dalton. Right after that, we got Marcus Mariota. That's 6'4", scrambler, 91 speed, has 93 throw power, 90 short, 89 medium, 88 deep. I think these are the same exact accuracies as Jared Goff. Has Gen 3 once again. And if we come down to his abilities, can get set feet lead for 2. Set feet lead for 2 is good, but you don't get the fearless, you don't get the high route master, you get fast break for 1 as well. Man, this is a tough card to rank. I like the set feet lead for 2, but do I value set feet lead fearless more? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say he's also D tier. Like I like the set feet lead for 2. I believe Michael Vick also got set feet lead for 2. So him being right next to this 90 overall Michael Vick, I really don't mind. And now we're moving on to Patrick Mahomes. Finally gets a good card this year. He's 6'3", field general, 91 speed, 89 excel with 96 throw power, really good. Great accuracy, basically perfect with threshold. And he has Slinger 2 as a release. A lot of people don't like Slinger 2 as a release. I really don't mind. Like a lot of people say Mahomes has a terrible release. I don't really think it's that bad. And if we look at his abilities, he can get pass lead for 2, fearless for 2, in total for 4 AP. Now, this is the first quarterback that we're going to cover that I kind of talked about at the beginning of the video. I think he's better than Vick and everyone, but I don't think he's as good as Rodgers and Elway. I think he's an A tier quarterback. I think he is really good. He finally has a usable card with abilities. Now we got Cam Newton. Cam Newton, stats wise, absolutely phenomenal. Player model, great as well. 6'5", 93 speed, 96 excel with 95 throw power, 90s for accuracy. And if we look at his release, has Gen 3, but let's take a look at the ability. So abilities, fearless for 1 is great. It's great. But then you get set feet lead for 5. Like you would run set feet lead fearless for 5 AP. That is just not worth it. Not worth it whatsoever. This card is the best quarterback in the game if you run the option style offense that I was talking about with Tebow earlier. Fast break for 0 is great. Even bruiser for 1 AP. But like it just doesn't suit my play style. For me, he is not really good. He is like, I can't even put him B. I can't put him B. He is like C tier for me. And okay, for me personally, I run Kozar, Josh Allen, Cam. Like I would run so many people in this tier over him. I don't like the card because of his abilities, but again, I can understand why you would like him. I'm just not really a big fan. He had the potential to be up here, like potentially an S if they would have did his abilities right and would have gave him like Slinger 3, the Lamar release, but I feel like they just absolutely ruined this card besides if you just run with your quarterback. And now we got Scrambler Tom Brady, one of the presents. He's a 6'4" quarterback, 88 speed, 90 excel. Crazy to see that on a Tom Brady card. And when you play up against him, when he's running out the pocket, it's like, why is Tom Brady running on me? It's just frustrating. But has 94 throw power, great short accuracy, great medium, and okay deep. And this time as traditional 1 is released, it's pretty much like a worse version of Slinger 1 in my opinion. But if we look at his abilities, gets baked in Gunslinger for 0 first off. You get set feet lead for 1, you get Howard Master for 2, and then fearless for 4. So in total, you get the Elway stack with 7 AP with fearless, Howard Master, set feet lead, and you get a Gunslinger on top of that. Yeah, Brady is actually someone that I think, the Scrambler Brady is actually someone that I think competes with Rodgers and Elway. He's going to go S tier for me. Now I can see the argument for him being the best. I could see the argument for him being worse than these two. I think I would put him above Rodgers, below Elway. It's just kind of preference though. I think Slinger 1 just makes the game a lot easier. Now right after that, we got Randall Cunningham, 6'4" strong arm with 95 speed, 96 throw power, great accuracies across the board, and Gen 3 as a release. Now we're gonna pull up his power up right here to see his abilities. Again, this was something that could have got the Lamar release that a lot of people really like, but for his abilities, could potentially get fearless for 2, gunslinger for 0, pass lead elite for 2. 4 AP for that ability stack total. The only thing he's missing is Howard Master. And if he had Howard Master for discount, could get the Elway ability stack, I think no doubt about it, he'd be S tier. I think he's A tier, and I would put him above Mahomes because of that slinger ability. And right after that, we got Baker Mayfield, 6'1" scrambler with 86 speed, 89 excel with 95 throw power, great accuracies across the board, really good stats wise, has traditional 6 as a release. And if we come down to his abilities, gets fearless for 3, set fate lead for 2, in total 5 AP right there. I think he's a pretty decent quarterback. Don't quite think he's great. Don't think he's like top end. I'd put him like middle of pack C. I would rather use Cam Newton over this card, so I'm gonna put him like bottom tier C. Potentially, like, I think he's better than the D tier people. And right after that, we got Tom Brady of the AKA promo. He's 6'4", field general this time, 72 speed, 70 excel. Again, perfect accuracies across the board. Now, what's good about this card is the potential to basically run the Elway stack, but a different way. So you could potentially run set feet lead, Howard Master for 4, really good value. But then you can go ahead, instead of running fearless for 4, go ahead and run Pro Reed's X Factor right here that essentially ignores pressure, right? You can do that. You basically get fearless for 7 AP right there. I don't think he is as good as the people in A. I think he's like B, and it really depends on playstyle. Like RG3, Steve Young, Jimmy G, Michael Vick, they all do things better than him, but Brady also does things better than them as well. So I think he's somewhere in this B tier. I could see the argument for like right here, or I could see the argument for like right here. Okay, I definitely didn't initially leave Kurt Warner off of here by accident, but he's 6'2", strong arm, 74 speed, 78 excel, 95 throw power is really good, and good accuracies across the board once again, and has Gen 3 as a release. Let's pull up his power up right here to see the discount abilities. He can go ahead and get one of these, which is not really great. He get Howard Master fearless for 3, and then no set feet. Does this card, okay, so you would have to run like fearless set feet lead for 4. Like, oh man, wow, they really screwed up his abilities. I'm not a fan, I'll be honest. I think he's worse than Brady that we just did. I'm not a fan of the Kurt Warner. I think he's like C tier, and I would run, again, a lot of people over him. I would even run Baker Mayfield over this card. He's going like bottom tier C. And we got a Fitzmagic upgrade, 6'2" field general, 86 speed, 92 excel with 94 throw power, great accuracies once again, has the Gen 3 release. And for his abilities this time, set feet lead, Howard Master for 5, or set feet lead fearless for 4. And you could potentially run set feet lead, Howard Master fearless for 9 AP. Actually, I wouldn't do that. I think the card's good. I think he played really good. I think along this B tier level, and I think he's more like top into B. I thought he was one of the better ones in like this tier, so I don't know if he's as good as Vick or better than Vick, but I think he's like top into B. And now we got Jalen Hurts, 94 overall. He's a 6'1" scrambler with 93 speed, 92 excel, 93 throw power, great accuracies across the board. Again, has the Gen 3 release. And if we take a look at his abilities this time, fearless for 2, pass lead elite for 3. He's just not as good as the Mahomes card, because Mahomes gets pass lead elite for 2. Why would you run this card over the Mahomes card? I know he gets a ton of team chems as well, but the scrambler arc kind of sucks as well. I think he is a tier worse than Mahomes. And do I think he's B? Yeah, I think he's B, but I would run RG3 over him and potentially Steve McNair. And we got a Tua upgrade, and they made this card actually really good. And he's 6 foot, field general, 92 speed, 91 excel, so he has the mobility, he has great throw power, has really good accuracies across the board as well. Gen 3 release. Now, the way he separates himself though is ability, so he could potentially get fearless for 2, Howard Master for 2, in total 4, and then set feet lead in this spot right here for 3. That is the Elway ability stack. Now, I don't think this card is as good as Elway in them. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I think he is A tier, and potentially Mahomes and Randall Cunningham are better. But I like the Elway ability stack so much that I would put him as the best card in A. And you can call me biased. I know I have a Dolphins hat on. I know I have a Tua jersey in the back. Bias would be putting him S. I think, again, these 3 quarterbacks so far are a tier above him, but I really like his ability stack. The thing that holds him back is like Gen 3, in my opinion. I think Gen 3, just sometimes the wind up on flats is so aggravating, because it's like, if I put Brady, or if I put Rodgers, or if I put Elway in the same situation, they're hitting passes that Tua potentially is missing. missing. And right after that, we got Drew Bledsoe, 6'5" strong arm with 87 speed, 96 throw power, amazing. I believe that's the highest in the game, highest we covered so far. 97 short, 92 medium, 93 deep, all absolutely amazing. And if we take a look at his release, traditional 2, a lot of people don't like traditional 2. I believe they fixed the, he used to have a hitch when he threw to the right flat. I believe they fixed that. And for his abilities, fearless for 1, Howard Master for 1. In total, that's 2 AP. Crazy value, set V lead for 4. So he gets the Elway ability stack for 6 AP this time. The only thing is I think he has a worse release, but I would say Drew Bledsoe is an S tier quarterback, and I think you could run him over Rodgers. I could see this placement right here. I think Brady's a little bit better because again, that built-in slinger, but I think these 4 right here are your top 4. Potentially Rodgers is right here, but I don't think so. I think Rodgers is still S tier. But yeah, y'all, this was my thoughts on the current quarterbacks in Madden 23 Ultimate Team. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know who you want to see go up, who you want to see come down. If you did enjoy the video, you enjoy content like this, want to stay up to date with the best cards in Madden 23, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, if you want to see me use some of these quarterbacks live, check the links in the description, hit that Twitch with a follow. We've been grinding the streams over there, so I greatly appreciate that. Now, if you don't feel like heading over to Twitch, you guys want another video to watch, check this one out right here. I built the best budget team in Madden 23.